5th.
That sounds good.
April.
That's a pretty kids.
They
Oh.
can come there and have pancakes.
Do you want the Easter Bunny for, the Easter Bunny reached out to me.
Yeah.
Wanted to know if you wanted, I said I need to check with you
Yeah.
first. And I thought that was gonna be the
She
answer,
can
but,
sort of hop around and talk to the kids.
yeah, I'll let her know. And then the 5th was good, right? Which I need to send an email out, well, we'll talk about it tonight, but also send an email out to everyone.
So we have a Christmas 2023,
Oh, for,
is that right?
mugshots?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's from Mugshots.
Yeah, they did not invoice us,
Until late?
yes.
Oh, wow.
Severely.
When we thought they invoiced us when they reached out, and we went back and looked, and they didn't.
Oh,
And then they were trying to finish up their books more, they closed the restaurant,
Okay.
so,
wow.
So when did you
I
say,
wonder how long that would have been.
yeah,
when did you say Easter was gonna be?
April 5th.
April 5th, at the community center.
So it's not the weekend before?
No, because there's conflicts with other things going on
Okay,
that the Lions Club is
Where did you
doing,
see that mugshot?
and since it's the same people,
okay.
it got moved to the 5th.
listing for one
Okay.
And it's not gonna be an
It's on
Easter
the
egg hunt,
second.
it's
And
just
it'll
gonna
be at
be,
the Grange.
and it's breakfast with Easter Bunny.
About
Okay.
midway.
I only have 12:30.
And La Sertoma is who's in charge of it. No longer the village. Means no Easter eggs putting together.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, well, you guys are gonna have to help because
I think anyone would rather help than put together those eggs.
And we don't have Leon and Rosie Girl to do them either.
Well, yeah,
we
true.
have Mom and Dad
Yeah.
to do.
We're running out of Judy,
Judy,
Your
Mom
mom,
and Dad.
Johnny.
My kids won't do it.
Oh, no.
My kids look at me like I'm stupid if I ask them. Putting the eggs together,
Mom and Dad put them together.
5 years later.
screw it.
Oh.
And then they come and they make a mess and then they leave. And the guys have too much work to do. So we'll have our Easter breakfast and then out they go. And we're not having eggs because they're $12 a dozen. Okay, we're recording now. Anyway.
All right.
Well, now they know we're not having eggs. Okay. So on the, I have a question about actual work.
Well, do you want me to call?
Oh, yeah, call it
it
to order. So we're not working yet. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well,
I don't know. Are these even on?
Yeah.
okay. So
Tonight's
we'll
gonna be an
call-
interesting meeting.
Yeah. We'll call the finance meeting to order at 6:33 PM on, what the date is?
February
February 13th, 2024.
Bye.
Roll call
Michelle Dumont,
here.
Kyle Pingborn,
Here.
Corey Harrier.
Here.
Have we looked over the meeting minutes? I know we can't do December's, or January's, right?
We don't have a January
Yeah,
meeting.
there was no meeting in January.
So December 12th.
Yeah, and I'll make a motion to approve meeting minutes in December.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So we'll look over the documents.
I have a question about the revenue stats from December of '24. Our final budget was $22,218,470, and our revenue was $2,127. So, does that mean we were like $93,000
In the negative.
in the negative?
On paper,
On
yes.
paper?
Yes, that is, yeah, simple math would say that, but you would also to keep in mind, actually I have a spreadsheet somewhere on it, because I figured that question was gonna come up. We had that $100,000 worth of grant money that we had to pay back that loan. We then took out another loan, but we haven't gotten the other tranche back in. So, yes, it looks worse than what it is, because it's just how the money's moving between the years.
Yeah.
Now, did we spend more money than we brought in? Yes. We went into a deficit last year, but we also had all that grant stuff that we were planning for, so, yes. So the deficit was planned
Understandable.
deficit, yes.
So I think it's just I can't read your writing.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think it's for the Baldwin Group on the payment listing for January 2025.
It's for Mayor's Court.
Oh.
That's our
okay.
software,
Okay,
and that's
I just
the
couldn't read
annual
your
thing.
writing, so I was kinda.
Sorry.
So So,
That's okay.
are we talking about December so we're just talking about December, right?
I have them broken down, because you have to approve each
Each
December,
month.
then you have to approve January.
I got it.
Okay.
You guys can discuss it however you want, but it
Right.
needs to be methodically passed.
I get it.
And I'm just kind of all over the place, so. So on the daily cash receipts, had promised to pay Brian Mark.
We had a promise to pay, are you on the utility billing sheets?
Yeah.
That, we had a promise to pay from the county.
Oh,
It's
Job
like
and
a water
Families.
payment, Job and Family
Yeah.
Services gives us a promissory note.
Yes,
Okay.
so when they do
For a
that,
water
we
bill.
don't shut off their water,
yeah,
but sometimes the county doesn't pay you for another 30 days.
yeah. We've had them before, I think I always forget or.
Well, they
also
stick
wanna
out,
read.
you know.
Yeah,
It's better to question them than.
right.
Oh, yeah.
While they're looking over it, the only correction I have for you,
Okay.
and I'm looking at the appropriation status as of 2/11/2025.
Okay, so the latest one, okay?
Yes, the latest one. So when we talked about advancing that $6,000 out into the, for the debt service,
Okay,
into those new accounts,
yes.
you put it actually as a transfer, and it should be an advance, because remember, a transfer out means it can't be reimbursed to the general fund. Advance means once that account makes money, we can bring it back into the general fund. So it just needs to be changed from a transfer out to an advance out. So it's on page 3.
I'm sure it's for the water tower, but Environmental System Research Institute, just one I haven't really ever seen.
That is actually for the water, that's ERS, that's your
Yes.
billing? Or,
ERS. No, that's their,
the radio
the
read,
radio,
yeah.
the radio.
for the data collection,
Gotcha.
and that's the annual payment on that.
Yeah. So I did that as an inter-fund transfer, Jason.
Yes, it should be an advance out, not a transfer, because transfers legally cannot be reimbursed. Once the money's gone, it's gone. But in advance, you can reimburse the general fund, and that was the goal, is just to loan that money basically to that account.
Change to.
So move it from 910, 910 to 920, 920.
So then there's just two in the payment stuff, it's for reconcile date 1/31, a Caden Foster and a Marquis
Crisp. So those are part-time hours for the police department that we approved for those officers. And you got all the information, I'm assuming since you done payroll, you have everything you needed from them to do payroll, right? For Crisp and Foster. When you done their payroll, like they don't owe you,
I did 1099, well,
oh, that's right, that was for last year's, end of
Yes.
last year, okay,
Yes.
and they were 1099, okay.
I had to think about it, yes.
Because this year they'll be technically part-time
be on-
employees,
yeah.
not 1099.
Okay.
I gotta get some of those for chief and.
Then there's like $450, is that like deposit for water or like Paulette, Brandy and?
Those are refunds on their deposits,
Mhm.
yes.
That was, we approved, a donation to them from the festival, since the festival made money.
Oh, they
And,
marched.
yes, and then also Fairfield Union. They both got $500 apiece?
300?
300? Okay.
It says 250, so they
250,
get like 50
okay.
somewhere.
It was 500 total.
Oh.
500
Total.
total, okay.
Oh,
that's-
that's a-
And then we split it between the two.
What's the paper barn?
That is toilet paper, paper towels for restrooms.
Just like it sounds.
Well, I was thinking wallpaper,
What them girls doing over there?
copier paper.
No, you never know about us.
How about ASCAP?
Isn't that the music people? And the ASCAP for the music
Oh, yeah.
license?
So, yeah, annually we have to pay that, so in case we play the radio at the pole, we don't get sued.
Okay.
Dumbest money grab.
When we owned the pub, that was minimum.
Oh, yeah,
Well, I mean, we paid thousands upon thousands of
Yeah.
dollars just to be able to have a band come in
Yeah.
because they were not all original songs.
yeah,
Stupid. That's the only reason I knew what ASCAP was.
Yeah.
Because they're awful.
So do they pay the artist from that?
No.
Like, what's the?
no, so you pay it, and it's kind of like a blanket license to allow you to do it. And they troll, and we know this because of the poll, they troll social media, so we were going to do a movie night. And because the movie we were playing was a newer title than what our license, they were actually going to sue us if we played that movie, because it didn't fit into our license.
So is it a government agency? Like, what's the?
It's some type of oversight, yeah,
They do it for all kind of things.
yeah.
To
And-
me, unless the artist is actually getting like some kind of money from that, like, to me, it's like, what's
Yeah.
Even like in church, if we used to do our church service on YouTube, if we sing certain songs, you have to be licensed, you have to have
Mhm.
you have to buy one of these things in order to do it,
Yeah,
so you don't get sued.
I just don't understand it unless the actual artist is getting.
yeah, it's a money grab.
Yeah.
Feel like I got stuff all.
I know, it's all intertwined, I just had
Did
to
you
like
just send
look
me,
at the
was
dates.
it just 2 things to sign?
No, there was a payment, all those are, my names are on, I signed each one that I looked at.
Well, because this doesn't have any signature on it.
Oh, wonder if you interlocked one of yours. Look at the dates, match it up, I wonder if that's yours compared to the one that I signed.
I don't know.
Here, let me see, I'll look.
Just
Well,
sign everything.
one's for
you have in front
January,
of you.
one's for December, so obviously you just might have missed it.
What?
Yeah.
I actually thought I signed 2 of those. But maybe. Can't hurt her to have extra. Do I need to?
That's why I was confused.
Oh, yeah, I looked at this one, I don't know why I didn't sign it. Cause this is the one I asked her about the, her writing.
Probably because you asked her about it.
I forgot to sign.
Two more. I'll give these to Bob so you can start.
There's more coming.
Want this? I'm comfortable.
Bob, when we have a little tire or flat tire, they could bring the squad to the rescue, run lights and sirens to
That'd
you.
be cool. Remember that.
So should I sign this before we vote?
What's that?
Oh, I stuck it in there just
Oh,
because.
yeah, you can go ahead and sign it, that way it's done.
Okay,
If it doesn't get passed, we'll just pull it out,
okay.
because if not, then we'll probably forget it.
Here he is. Hi, honey. Good, you. Good.
How are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Pretty good. Waiting for this cold weather to be done.
Yeah.
I wanna sit on my front porch.
I'm gonna sit on your front porch too, so I can run on this dog.
Come over anytime. That's the Second Street gathering place.
Don't wear black or bring a lint brush.
Yeah.
Oh, it won't bother me, I got hair on me from my own.
There's a lot, and he's really likes to get real cuddly.
That's
Yeah,
all.
he doesn't know boundaries.
No. Mine
But-
doesn't either.
He's a sweet boy. He's a nice dog. He's affectionate little.
Little. Right.
Little as in cow pounds, likes wants to sit on your lap. I don't want to know where you want me to put these, because there's 17 stacks. So I'll put them right there. Smitty's new thing is to, they play keep away in my backyard, and they use my shed as the safe. You know, when your kids used to run and play tag, him and Archie play tag in the backyard. Run around the shed. That way, they run around tag.
Okay, we have to put these back together, keep all these back together, but you can start on those ones. But they have to go back with all these.
Are those the
So
other
we can
ones
keep
you
rolling.
signed?
No, these will all need signed. It's the beginning of the year to set up all the accounts. That's why I thought I'd give you what I have. And then put them all back together. I couldn't hear you.
Oh,
How are you? I'm good.
Handouts for you.
Awesome, thank you.
This one's web chick, it always makes me laugh.
What's that, red web chick?
Yeah. Always makes me laugh.
What?
He wants to stay.
I said I get them. Each one can have their own.
Great.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. So what do you think of the mayor's meeting?
Interesting,
Interesting?
yeah. I think I knew more of the community partners than I knew of the mayors.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, a lot of the mayors didn't show up that night. We only had, what, 4 of us there that night? Which we don't always have. The most you'll get is half. But every meeting, like, they cycle through, I guess is
Yeah.
how to say it. But I did send you the listing of all their contact information, right? Okay. I had a list of things I had do outs on, and I was checking them off, and then I threw away my piece of paper, and I'm like, did I really do it all, or did I forget something?
Thank you.
The difference between encumbered and unencumbered is that it's encumbered, it has to be used for, so $500 is for this, and it's encumbered, it has to be used for that.
Yeah, it's committed.
Unencumbered can be used for anything in that category.
Yeah, so like if it's a line item for office supplies, encumbered means like we have a PO for Office Max for $500 out of the 2,500. Then that would leave like $2,000 unencumbered to use for whatever that fits.
At Amazon,
Yeah.
Walmart, and
Yeah,
Kroger, whatever.
yep. So it's basically, what I would call it committed.
I'm gonna make sure I was. Did you take that stack back?
I did. I was adding to it. Do you need it back?
No.
You ready for it?
Not quite yet.
Are you ready, Bob? I can pass it to you.
Yes, ma'am. I can take over.
Well, I gotta add it to the stuff. We don't wanna get, I'm separating one group into,
Oh, okay.
so that we can keep
I already
moving.
got 'em all confused with everything else
Yeah,
I got.
well, I figure if we keep them in clips, then we
Have a better shot.
have a better shot.
I'm sure if I messed it up, Penny will let me know.
I took them home once, so on accident. Shoved them in my packet and, what was it?
That's all we did. We did good.
You got it back.
Yeah, you did, brought them back the next day.
You're lucky then that it goes.
I'd have been in trouble. Well, no, you would've, cause you had to slide them again.
Denied it.
Sorry, I don't believe that. You don't seem to be the denial
No, I
type.
would've. Said I did it. Beg for forgiveness.
No offense, but I don't think you'd beg for forgiveness either.
I
Quit
see.
telling fibs.
I would feel bad. I do feel bad when bad things happen.
We'd have more money if we quit paying these people.
Tell me about it. If we get rid of labor costs, but not the labor, we'll actually have money. Be like every other business in the United States. Everyone will just work for free.
Well, can we probably finish signing these after the other meeting, right?
Yeah, I mean, we got 5 minutes till, if you guys wanna,
Well,
have
I'll
you guys,
keep going, but I wonder
Oh,
if I
yeah.
should close out the like,
have you guys
at
approved
the other
everything?
stuff. Well, we haven't yet, but I
Okay.
can start doing that. I feel like I'm getting close to the. Close to the time. Okay, other than the blanket certificates, has everyone looked at the December documents?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to,
Make a motion to accept the documents for December 2024.
Did you make a
I
motion?
made a motion.
I second it.
okay. And then has everyone looked at the January 2025 documents?
Yes.
Yes.
You got a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes, or accept the financials for
I'll second.
January 2025.
Okay. So then everybody that approves both of them, say aye. Aye. Anybody have any old business? New business, we have the purchase orders, which are these.
Mhm.
And we'll finish signing those after the meeting, after the regular meeting. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Everybody in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. And we will close the finance meeting out at 6:57.
Did you rush over here?
I did.
Oh, okay.
We went from one meeting to this.
Oh,
He'll probably be a few minutes late too.
What?
What's
Corey
that?
did main
Mr.
motions for
Garber
everything,
was
Bob
late. Oh, okay.
seconded everything. Mhm. Hey, how are you?
Doing good, how are you?
Good.
The 100 North Main Street asks us every time, the old,
grocery store.
With the alien lives in there. I've perfected my signature at this point.
Thank you. I'm too lazy again, I'm sorry.
To the man who never sleeps.
Mr. Gerber?
Yeah.
Thanks, sir. Will you email this to me when you?
Sometimes I think I'm busy and then I remember him.
Okay.
And
Then
he's
you
always-
might be second.
I don't know about that. I get my sleep, trust me. Except for last night. I did not get no sleep last night.
Yep.
Thank you.
Fancy meeting you here.
Sometimes when you read stuff and it just looks funny. Makes you chuckle.
I got way too many R's to speak.
All right, it's 7 PM on February 13th, 2025. If we can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Henderson,
Present.
President Dumont,
Here.
Councilman Mason,
Here.
Councilman Pangborn,
Here.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Here.
Councilwoman Wharton,
Here.
Councilwoman Henry.
Here.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to approval of meeting minutes. Remember, there was no meetings in January of 2025. So the approval for the regular council meeting for December 12th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes for council in December.
Okay, Corey made the motion, second.
I'll second.
No, you go right.
Okay.
Sarah, second.
Yep.
Roll call.
President Dumont,
Yes.
Councilman Mason,
I wasn't here.
Councilman Pangborn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wharton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
All right, next one is the special council meeting minutes from December 30th, 2024. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Bill made the motion, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Katie. Roll call.
President Dumont,
Yes.
Councilman Mason,
Yes.
Councilman Pangborn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wharton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
All right, we have no guest. Any public input?
She can't approve as well.
Sarah,
Right.
you are not here for December's meeting, I don't believe. Didn't you have your
Oh,
surgery?
no, I had surgery 3 weeks ago. I had COVID.
Okay,
Oh.
so she
Sorry.
cannot second the.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Michelle can.
So
Yep.
Michelle?
Yeah.
All right, and we're
I
gonna
thought
have
that
roll
was,
call.
thank you, Casey. I
Good
thought that
catch.
was the case.
Great memory.
Yeah.
Casey's like,
Can't even remember if I was here, let alone see.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
Any public input? I'm sorry. Do you have anything? All right. Council reports, finance?
Oh, nothing new to report.
All right. Zoning property maintenance. So Nick will also cover it in here, but our zoning inspector did resign. So we'll be looking for them in the interim. That will be me handling that. We did get the electronic version of the final draft of the county's model zoning code. It's out on their website.
Okay.
My email isn't working right now, but if you go to regional planning, Fairfield County Regional Planning, it's out there on their landing page. One of the things I've talked to a couple of the other mayors is maybe a representative from each of the villages that want to participate, kind of dig into a little bit more and just like what works for one village, you know, what have been our experiences, things like that. Things that I did notice in there that I like, but needs a, like there needs to be a conversation about it, but like when we talk about fencing, you know, that's, you know, for a village, it's one of our bigger, permits. It actually makes it a non-permittable, meaning we don't have to issue a permit for a fence in the way the model is, not saying that's what we
As
have to
long as they
pass.
stay within the model or whatever.
As long as it stays within their property,
Yeah.
which kind of alleviates that, you know, we're always having that conversation of, well, if this and that, blah, blah, blah. It alleviates that. Now, I still think there needs to be oversight on it. But again, I'm good with like a no charge permit, just, hey, you and your neighbor agree that you can put it on the property line, like, as long as it's on someone's property, it's, you know, good. And there's a couple instances like that.
I'll read through it
Yeah.
for you and then I'll look specifically at the fence.
But talks, you know, some things about swimming pools, temporary pools, I guess is what to call them, that they don't need permits to where right now ours is, it depends on the depth, whether it's temporary or permanent, is kind of what deems if you need a permit. So it like clears up the mud and makes it to where we're not actually involved as much, which I think will alleviate some of the issues. And also of the just random questions of, hey, can I do this? And it's like, I don't know because there's too many variables, type thing. But again, there's pros and cons of that too, so, but I think that'll be our next steps on that. But it's in our ball court now. Records, rules, and law,
nothing
okay.
now.
Recreation,
Nothing.
okay. I think Casey will have some updates for the pool and grant work and all that stuff, so. Safety service, Bob? All right, county boards, regional planning and board of health. Yeah, I'll say I don't think there's been anything. All right, grant updates, it's gotten very simple.
We don't have any money.
We don't have any money, but we're winding down all of our grants, which is a good thing. So everyone will notice the board is clean. I moved everything over to completed projects, it's just a lot of the stuff we're just finishing up on. So the only thing that we're, like we say we're gonna be completed by 2026. We should be, but again, it's, you know, we're self-funding that, through there. Zoning update, we just kind of talked about that. We just got that in, so we're right on schedule with Village Action is 2025, so, we'll keep on that. And then the water tower refurbishment, we are now legally allowed to talk about that in this meeting, and we don't need to have, special or, executive sessions on that. We did, issue, notices to the contractor and their bond. The bond recognized that, recognized the letter. It was just putting them on notice, giving them X amount of days to come up and remedy. They did not do that. I believe you just got the returned unsigned certified mail from the contractor, which this now just allows us to go now officially against the bond, which we reached out to Brad, our attorney, and he will now officially put together that paperwork to go after the bond. From my understanding, I've never had to do this process, so from my understanding is now, once the bond company is put on notice, they're obligated in correcting it, right? They have multiple ways to correct it, and we don't have a say in it per se. They can just say, here's a check, go forth and conquer. They can say, I'm gonna hire a contractor myself, and you're just gonna pay me, and I'm gonna act as the contractor. They can tell us to go to the second highest bidder to see if they're interested, or they can say, rebid it, whatever. So, once they get that, we will get information back on how they want to proceed, and then we have to follow suit with whatever. We have no input of, from my understanding of, like, we don't agree with that, we want it done this way. We have to follow with what they say for them to pay for it. Does that make sense? All right, so, I was told it's gonna be a long process, so, maybe next fall?
Okay.
Maybe.
Let's hope not, but the way this project's been going. But everything else has been moved over, we're finishing up. Casey will have some more on the pool, because we finally got that finalized. Audi Park, deadline is tomorrow to be 100% complete. We're gonna have to do an extension. They are very, very close, but again, they still have to have inspections. But if you've not driven up by there, the dugouts are built, the new concession stand with restrooms, the cut across the road, the water, sewer's connected, electric has been ran. I mean, they're pretty much finishing up, but then we gotta go through the inspection process, which is what will push us over most of it, of our timeline. Then the storm line for Summit Street, we did have extra money left over, and again, it's either you spend it or you lose it. And I believe there was about $30,000 that was left over. So we're going to go ahead and connect around Weldon Street, Second Street to that line, again, just to give us another connection out. And then we also have a flooding issue between First and Second Street. So we are gonna go ahead and connect into existing and bring it up to alleviate the flooding in those people's yards. So if we do that, from my knowledge, that will take care of all the major flooding that we have in residential properties. Not saying minor flooding or things like that, but any major flooding where we're talking 6-12 inches of water when we have storms. So, to my knowledge, I'm not saying that, you know, we know about everything, but to the best of our knowledge, that will take care of that. But I think that's about it. Future projects, just the next year, 2 years, like we got to start saving money again, because, you know, we had all these grants, we spent a lot of money, which was planned, but now we got to like recoup, right? But just so we have the future project, things that we need to keep our eye on is our water treatment plant extension, for opportunities for that, for the water treatment plant generator, for opportunities for that, and Lincoln Avenue, because that's our next big project. Now, when I say, you know, opportunities, we don't have the cash to actually go out and you know, be very productive in grants, but, you know, still looking for that funding, so in a couple years, we're ready to go. You know, like having those meetings, having those conversations, showing the needs, you know, doing the data pools, things like that. So we'll still be talking about grants, but, you know, we won't be applying for funding for a little bit down the road. And then once funding, once you apply, it's like a 2 to 3 year process before you actually see anything. So, like, you know, we won't see any major improvements, you know, for a period. Now, if there is a grant that becomes available that is 100% funded, meaning we don't have to pay anything, of course, we're gonna go for it, right? And I'll bring those to you if we run across anything like that. Any questions on grants? All right, so Sam, I'll take mine and give back to you so we can start marking off
Okay.
and making our agenda a little bit shorter,
Okay.
on that part. Next up would be maintenance. Casey?
We're kind of going to go back through January's meeting notes, just to make sure you guys are tracking. And that's basically, the quick and short is ODNR, all that's done and complete, which is a yearly report. The EPA yearly reports are all completed and in. The generator at the water plant, we have an intermittent working problem. We're still trying to issue it, or work with it and figure it out, but at the same time, we're also looking at grant work and stuff like that that we can try to upgrade. All the Christmas is now officially down and it's tucked away for the year.
And Nick's office.
Yeah. And we're looking at maybe creating a little bit more storage down at the ground. And that's it for, and then this coming up, we have, we've had a water meter replacement. We actually have 2 more on the books we gotta get done. We had a curb box relocation because the construction, they put the curb box over the curb stop, but there was like a 1.5 foot gap difference. In other words, the stop was here, the curb stop, or the curb box, the tube, stopped here.
They had to dig it up to get to it.
Yeah.
So we had to dig everything up, tear everything up around it to get to it, to figure out what was going on and where it was at.
And just,
But
just-
now it's off of a construction piece.
Yep.
So now we're going back through and checking everywhere the construction has been, we're reconnecting, we're checking all those reconnections.
and just for educational purpose, a curb stop is the actual nut that like turns the water on and off in simple
Yeah.
terms. And then the other is just a tube that slides over it that we can actually get in, keeps the ground from caving in. So it's basically where the connection is and that tube that comes up had that disconnect.
Yeah, so the curb stop is turning it off, curb box is just a tube.
Mhm.
Even though it's a box, it's a tube. All right, we got the water tap and everything done at Otter Park like we talked about. Water and sewage is up and in. We've had to rebuild a couple of the water plant chemical pumps. We still got one more to rebuild. And we're in the process of looking for some other parts. We did have a distributor, now we don't have a distributor. It's weird. But we're dealing with that right now. We built and raised up the countertops out of the pool. Also put in the gates down at the pool. They are now officially okayed by the state to operate the pool again. With that being said, the county guy was there, the county person was there for that inspection, right behind him, and we are good to go. We just have to submit for our
License, yep. But we're not allowed because of the height. The state made us to go up this high, the county wants us here. So basically what that means is we can no longer have a concession stand there, which we don't really have one, but I mean, this is just the reality of it. If someone says, hey, we can put a concession stand in there, the county will not approve it because the window is too high for serving, but the state won't allow it to go down because of state rules. So it's right hand has different rules than left hand, and we're just screwed.
Yeah, so there's a lot of issues down there, but we're good.
Yeah.
Back to diagnosing, we did do some more diagnosing down at the water plant, but like I said, we're looking at the generator, we're looking at trying to rebuild it. Servicing, we've been servicing the equipment, and then the only other thing really to get off, is we have a couple classes that we have to attend. We have to go to a class to learn how to write a CCR, because the EPA will no longer check our CCRs, they will just tell us we did bad. And the EPA said we had to go to these classes. Give you an idea of what we're dealing with. Yeah, and that's all I got.
Okay. Just why we're kind of on water. So again, we've been tracking since 2021, like ghost gallons, how many gallons of water we lose every year that's not billable. I had the 2024 data on my spreadsheet. Obviously, I didn't hit save before I closed out of it. So I'll I'll get that to get you the exact numbers again. But this year we lost approximately 12 million gallons, which is up double from last year. But we've been chasing ghosts for a little bit. Like, we know we have a leak, we just can't find them, or we find what we think is a major leak, but it really doesn't bring our numbers down to what they should be. So we're still working on that. However, money-wise, we're closing that gap of what it costs to operate the plant. But just for reference, so we started monitoring this in 2021. We were losing 14 million gallons. In 2022, we got that down to 11 million gallons. 2023, we got it down to 6 million gallons, because again, we were chasing these ghosts, and then last year, something has happened somewhere, but we had a lot of water breaks on our own lines, on residential lines, because we had that lady that had a flooded yard for weeks that didn't tell no one, that were just spewing water. We had, not Pacers, but they were losing water in their basement and didn't know it. So, we were losing 40,000 gallons a day, didn't know where it was going, but it was hidden. And that's kind of where we're still at with stuff. But just so you guys know, where we're at with that. And the goal is to get that down. We're always going to have loss, because that also, when we recycle every day or once a week, that's what, 10,000 gallons, 12,000 gallons each time it does that. So, and that's stuff that we don't bill, and of course water breaks and just things
And
that.
recycle it every day or every
Is it?
week or-
Yeah, so what happens is every day, 2 times a day, the softener regens, because after so much water actually goes to the softener, it needs to regen, which is a backwash on itself, just like your water softener if you had one to house.
Yeah.
It's just, ours is a much bigger version. And then also twice a week, we actually have to go in and backwash the whole filtration
Filtration.
system. We have to go back and physically backwash all that.
Yeah. So we have known losses, but this is, in excess of. And again, we were doing great, once we saw this and we're bringing it down, but, I don't want to say it is what it is, but, until we find those ghosts, and that's why we've been telling about every meeting, like, if you hear about water breaks, make sure you're communicating it back to the village office, no matter how small, because it may only be small on your end, but if we research it, like, we're going to find something bigger. Because we have found significant leaks over the past 4 or 5 months.
Michelle, do you remember when we were at sewer board, Penny said something about she was walking somewhere and saw.
She saw something, we told her to call Penny,
Okay.
but we'll follow up with her Thursday, we'll remember to follow up with
Okay.
us Thursday.
Yeah, because that's how we track this stuff down. That
Yeah,
you
she
can't.
was
Say a
walking
word.
somewhere and seen
Yeah.
a bunch of water somewhere, and we told her to call in and tell
Yeah.
Penny so she could tell the guys,
Yeah.
but, okay, we'll
All right.
remind her to.
Yep. So, and then just other things, like if you're taking walks, as it gets warmer out and you smell chlorine as you're walking down the street coming out of like a storm line, it's probably a break that's going directly into a storm line. We're never going to see it. And we've had that on 2nd Street twice now. The break was on Main Street, but the way it ran through the system, you didn't smell it until 2nd Street, and then the guys had to backtrack it back to in front of the Legion, I believe, is where it actually broke. So all those clues help, just, trying to track down exactly where the water break is. All right, any questions for Casey? If not, we'll go on to Chief Garber.
While we're talking about water main breaks, I don't know if you were, heard, Bradley in Mayor's Court. He was talking to me about his, Caffrey's charging him to fix a furnace in the basement, and of course he's handicapped and lives on 101 Pearl Street, on the corner.
Yep.
Do you know about a water, leak?
Yeah, they had a water leak in their basement. That's
Yep.
the one we had to, for the shut off, we had to dig down and uncover.
Okay.
That's why we figured out that they're not connected.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you, make sure you knew about it, because I don't know if it's still leaking, I'm assuming it's not, but.
Yeah, after they done the repair, we checked with Bill Burt and everything's fine.
Yeah, they told us it was good.
Yeah.
That's fine, he just mentioned it in our mayor's program, which was Monday.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that's a water main, water.
Yeah.
We'll get back. You should find me over there.
Around the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 2024, all told, we had 1,010 calls. Now, that's everything, that's, anything special that we do, that's traffic stops, that's domestic, everything. So far, year to date, we're at 109. traffic stops, and the rest of them are some type of call for service or whatever, whether it's backing up the squad or suspicious people complaining about the neighbors or, you know, domestics, whatever. Let's see, didn't really go to any meetings or anything like that. We do have 2 additional police officer candidates that are looking for, you know, auxiliary work. One of them's looking for part-time work, but he's willing to do auxiliary until, you know, he's able to get some hours from us. Because we are just now starting to do some part-time hours. I think the budget's allowing for about 12 hours a week, so I'm trying to do 3-4 hour days. This is gonna be in the evenings and with a concentration on Friday night, Saturday night, whenever. Unless I'm out, then I'll move them around during the week or whatever. But try to have consistency on those days. And then, let's see, road guys fixed the Ford Cruiser and door lock. It's basically, I don't know, for oversimplifying it, it had plastic crap on the inside instead of metal, and it was like sloppy or loose or whatever, and so you turn the key, but it really wouldn't turn the lock. Allowing you to get in, so they fixed that, and we're still working on the back windows for that, but I think we know what the problem is on that, so. Let's see, so there's a little bit of hubbub on Facebook about it. You might have seen, on that end of town, you might have seen a bunch of police cars on Saturday night. There's about 5 or 6 of them. Foster got dispatched out to a domestic. When he got there, it was on an upstairs apartment, on a 400 block, and guy wouldn't answer. He could see in the window that the guy was in there. He could also see that the guy had blood all over him. There's blood all over the apartment. And it looked a lot worse than it actually ended up being in the end. But so of course he called for backup, and I was listening to the radio at home, so I came in, and I got here about the same time as the sheriff's office, and they sent 3 cars. So we had lots of lights down there, and we had the squad come in the first time for the guy, and then later when we got the female to come back, I had to call the squad for her too, because she was injured. And it ended up being the woman stabbed the guy. Wasn't like a, you know, attempted murder or anything, but she did stab him with a knife. He had knife wounds on him, on his defensive on his hand and on the back. Okay, well, she also had injuries on her face and dry blood and stuff like that, so we arrested both of them for domestic violence, because that's what the law requires in Ohio. It's preferred arrest state. And because the guy who was more of the victim in the case in my mind, he obstructed our investigation for 2.5 hours, you know, plus he wouldn't let us, we had to kick the door in to get in. The neighbors were saying that, you know, it was just awful, you know, chaos in the apartment before police got there, and then the woman had left within seconds of Foster getting there because when she came back, she offered up her Life 360, and then we compared his arrival time to when she left, and it was the same minute. So she just had left out the back before he got there, but anyway, they're both in jail. We also arrested one of our frequent flyers at that same spot, 101 Pearl Street on the corner. Calling 911 for no good reason repeatedly, tying up the 911 system, and then she even did it in my presence, you know, trying to call 911 on me. So, she wanted the sheriff to come down and arrest me because she was mad that I wasn't taking the other guy who did nothing out to jail. So she's just crazy. So anyway, so she got arrested and she was in jail for weeks. Actually, I was surprised about that though. She's been in court here, and she's been in court like 55 times in Fairfield County, so I'm sure we'll be back down there, because she's out now. So it's just a matter of time before we're back there. But I don't know if that's all I got on my list or not. You mentioned Heather resigned. I kind of loosely oversaw her, but I didn't even know about it. He told me kind of today, so we're going to have to do something about that. And then, yeah, I think that's it. So it's 2 months of stuff, and I know there's more, but I've probably forgotten some stuff. But if you have any questions, let me know. But we should see a little more police presence now with part-time, and then with us bringing on a couple more officers, and kind of flushing some of the slower to get out of training officers out of the system, and now be out on their own more, so we're gonna see a net gain in police presence, as we go forward, so that'll be good. So,
All right, and then we did talk, Nick and I met over the budget, kind of gave him some freedom on some of the lines. Again, not a lot of money, because we don't have a lot of money in those accounts, but where we kind of gave him some freedom on things, but also explained to Nick, you know, there is a reserve in that police account to where if there is something that doesn't fit in that budget, doesn't mean he, you know, if it's needed, we might, because we still have Mark's radios and some high-end things that we need to buy, that would eat up that cash right away, if not even more, to make sure we're not ignoring stuff, to make sure we get what we need type thing. So I'm sure we'll be talking more about his budget as we go through, because that first year, everything went smooth. A lot of the stuff, I'm gonna say 80% of the stuff, like, you donated, kind of, some way, like, you know,
donated or fronted.
yeah. But then, you know, we need to get back to where, okay, you know, Nick has been paying for this on behalf of the village. We need to start paying for that on our own, because it's not his responsibility to pay for all the expenses of a police department. But, you know, I know I appreciate, you know, everything that you've done on that end, in addition of everything else, but I definitely want to start making that right to where it gets it off your books and onto ours. That way we have a realistic police budget too of, you know, what it's costing us,
Right.
which is worth the money. All right, any other questions for Chief Garver? All right, I have nothing for old business. Anyone else have anything for old business? All right, we'll go right into new. So the first thing is ordinance 213-2501, and this is an appropriation or an ordinance that we pass every year, passing and approving the adoption of the Ohio Basic Code, which is what we use for police enforcement, zoning, just everyday laws for the village, so we don't have to create our own. And you update it every year, so basically this company looks at all the changes to the Ohio Revised Code, they update the basic code, and then we pay a fee of $400 and some or $600 and some each year. They give us 5 or 6 nice books plus online services, and we just have to pass the ordinance and pay the bill. So this is just adopting that new code. Excuse me. An ordinance approving, adopting, and enacting American Legal Publishing's Ohio Basic Code 2025 edition as a code of ordinance for the municipality of Pleasantville, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Michelle, second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Sarah. Roll call.
President Dumont,
Yes.
Councilman Mason,
Yes.
Councilman Payne,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
All right. All right, I'm going to move something up because it's kind of stupid to talk about this. So we have an opportunity to purchase a 1999 Freightliner Medic for $2,000. It's sitting out here in the bay. We would not be using it as a medic. We would be using it as a just a vehicle for the village. The benefits for it: one, it's $2,000. It's operable type thing. But for water breaks, we have like this little trailer we pull around. It has a generator. It has, you know, they kind of keep all the essentials they need for a water break. This unit for $2,000 would then replace that little trailer, but the medic has scene lights on it, so we don't have to carry around extra lights. So when you're doing a water break, which is always at night, the medic itself has scene lights, so it'll illuminate the area that they're working in. We won't need the generator because the medic has an inverter where we can plug stuff in. It has tons of storage. It has a heated space for, you know, when the guys need breaks to get out of the water or out of the cold or whatever. And plus it's just, you know, another vehicle type thing. So this would be from Pleasant Township. So I'm asking for approval to purchase the 1999 Freightliner Medic for $2,000. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve purchase of the medic.
Corey made the motion. Do I hear a
I'll
second?
second it.
Seconded by Sarah. Roll call.
President Dumont,
Yes.
Councilman Mason,
Yes.
Councilman Payne,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so now this will make sense. So now we have Resolution 213-2501. Be it resolved by the Village of Pleasantville Council, the following supplemental appropriations be approved. General Fund for motor vehicles, $2,000, and that would be for the purchase of the medic. And be it resolved for transfers And that should be not transferred, it should be, advances.
I'll fix it tomorrow.
That's fine. Advance, be approved $6,000 from general fund to the enterprise debt services. And what that's for is we set up those debt services to pay those loans, but we don't accumulate enough money, so we're gonna advance the money from the general fund. And then once that account has enough money that it's solid, then we can pay the general fund back.
It says as long as when I went in to try to
Yeah.
look at it, it said we had to the end of the year to pay it back.
Yes,
so
yeah. Yeah, it's not like
We
you
don't
just
have to do it
close out
right
the books,
away.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Bill made the motion. Do I hear a second?
It.
Second by Corey? Or Michelle, sorry. Roll call?
President Dumont?
Yes.
Councilman Mason?
Yes.
Councilman Pegborn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wharton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry?
Yes.
All right. All right, 2025 rental rates. So at least every other year, if not every year, we try to look at rental rates for all of our different items that we have. So what I've done is clean this up. So I've looked at ours compared to other villages and cities. So we did have what we called in-town rates and out-of-town rates. And it seems like all other villages and cities are getting rid of those out-of-town rates because we always try to find a reason to make someone appear to live in the village to get the rental rate. Because I'd rather get $200 versus not get it because they don't want to pay the extra $25, right? So just get rid of it because we're just playing games with ourselves. But also kind of reducing down some of our rates to see if maybe that will help spark more rentals. You know, just because we're charging more doesn't mean that we're actually going to make more. So we're going to try that this year. One, because our pool was closed last year. We definitely got to do something to bring those people back. By reducing our rates would be one way of doing it, right? So I looked at everything. It's like, well, let's just try this and reduce a lot of our different rates, not everything. But everyone has a copy of this in front of them. I'll go through it really quick. I just have some input on some to make sure you guys are okay with it, and then we can pass it or whatever you guys want to do. But for the open air shelter houses at Pleasantville Park and Audi Park, they're always free. It's just first come, first served. They don't need to be reserved through the office. Pleasantville Park, the enclosed shelter house, deposits through all these is always going to be $50, so I'm not going to touch on those every time. What we're going to do is just, it's $50 to rent that versus $100. So basically cut that in half to hopefully spark some more rentals because we're not renting that very often. Sorry. Then the community center, we are, again, deposit of $50, rent that out for $100 versus $125, bring that down $25, and that's for the downstairs only. For the entire building, do that for $200 versus $250, so dropping it down $50. At the pool parties we're keeping the same because we're in line with Baltimore and Bremen. That's kind of where we kind of keep our price point with. So for a 2-hour party, it's $175 for 50 people. 3-hour party is $225 for up to 50 people. And then each additional set of 50 people is $30 extra because you have to bring in more guards based on 50 people. And that right there would cover those additional costs. Daily admissions, we did raise those a couple years ago to $350, bring those back down to $3. 3 and under will still remain free with the paid adult. After 5 p.m., and we actually do get a lot of people to take advantage of this. We were doing $2 after 5, trying to get some more families to come back, do it for $1. Like realistically, you can't beat that price. And if you really want to cool off, $1 is a good way of trying to bring some of these people back. And then we want to introduce, and we just got Wednesday on here, but we will pick a day based off of, because we have a couple churches that like come up and rent it for their daycares. We won't pick one of those days. So we just put Wednesday because as of our prior history, that would be a day that no church or larger group comes in that would use it. And it's $1 all day. Again, just to get people to come in and use the pool. Pool passes, we're going to reduce those down a little bit. Again, getting rid of all the out-of-town rates at just basically the same rate. So for a single person, $75 where it was $100, couple $125 where it was $175, and a family, would be $200, and it was $225, up to 5 members, and then each additional member or babysitter is $20 each. So is everyone good with that, or have any questions or suggestions? Again, it's just trying to see if we can get some more people interested in using our facilities and helping us offset some of our costs, so, all right.
How are we with people applying to come back to work?
We have put out, well, let's pass this first, so I don't lose track and forget. So do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Sarah made the motion. Corey second. Roll call?
President Zumo?
Yes.
Councilman Mason?
Yes.
Councilman Payborn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry?
Yes.
Okay. So we put out the application, so we've had one person interested in the manager's job so far, correct, Sam?
Correct.
We've not had any biters on the lifeguards yet, but typically the way it is about a month before we open, that's when the kids really are looking. But we did reach out to, I reached out to the swim team and the coach at Fairfield Union to pass it along. I need to pass it along to the guidance counselors. I'm also going to do that for Liberty Union Thurston schools and Millersport schools and things like that. So we have some lifeguards from a couple years ago, but again, because we weren't open last year, their certificates expired, so they would all have to get recertified this year. I've had some people saying they're interested, but again, they would have to get recertified in order to come back, so. But typically, about a month before we open, it seems like when we start filling those in. Because teenagers just, they don't plan, I
They don't
guess.
pre-plan, there's
Yeah.
no pre-planning.
They give you a, yep, we'll be there, and then you sit there and guess if that yup means that they will be here, or they might find another job.
So did the person that applied for the manager, they, like Chris, that would wanna do the pool stuff, or like,
Oh,
have you even talked to them yet?
I have not really talked to them. They just asked about, in general, the job description they put in the application. Instead of interviewing people right now, I'm just gonna let it sit there for a while since we have time. Chris, the past pool manager, she's not the pool manager this year because she moved to Lithopolis and it's just too much. She would still like to do the classes, water aerobics at no
Yes.
charge in exchange for a free family pool pass. And again, like, we're not out any cash, we just, you know, so I don't think that's a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, I'm
I told her I
okay with
didn't
that.
think you guys were having a problem with that, so.
That'd be great.
But we'll just, that'll be her payment is a family pass.
Also keep in mind that we talked about, giving the outgoing seniors from the elementary school a day,
Yes,
a party or whatever. I
Yep.
can't remember if we voted on it or not.
we talked about it, but the school hasn't gotten back to me on details. So what it is Bremen basically gives on, I'm just gonna say the last day of school, the fourth graders leaving Bremen Elementary, they give them a free pool day at the pool. So basically before the pool opens, they have like a preview day and they come over for an hour or two and swim. In addition to that, Bremen also gives them 1 or 2 ticket stubs for free entry for a future entry once a pool opens. Again, that kid gets a free entry, but mom, dad, brothers, and sisters have to pay. So it's a way to like try to gain. So I think that's a very good idea. And the 2 grade schools are trying to make sure everything's even between the 2 because there's always been a difference. And I'm on board. I think we discussed that and everyone here was on board.
Yeah.
But I don't have the details back from the principal yet of what. And I'm going to assume, just because they're in the middle of PTO coming up and just everything else, we probably won't hear about it until we get really close to that
Oh, yeah.
opening date.
The last, year before last, we did give the fourth graders a free coupon.
Yep.
Because they passed those out at the graduation
Yes.
ceremony.
Yeah.
That was Evelyn's last year at elementary school.
Okay, yeah.
And then we didn't have the pool last year to do it.
Yep.
So we did give them that free day.
Yeah. So, but I think everyone on here is on board with that, so we'll just wait for her and then go from there. All right. Next item is 100 North Main Street rental, so the old grocery store. I had a meeting with
Eastern Cotton
Eastern Cottontail, thank you. They're looking to relocate their Baltimore office to Pleasantville. They asked about our building over there since it's kind of not being used. I showed them how it sits as of right now. They're good with it. They really only have office hours a couple days a week. Over in Baltimore, I believe he said it was Tuesdays and Saturdays for, 5 or 6 hours those days. and they just need, when I say they need, they have it, they just need space to put like a conference table and a few desks, so as people come in, wanna talk, they have some space. You know, that building needs a lot of work. This will be a good way of starting getting some money in rents to start paying for things. Realistically, all they need is heat, air conditioning, water, things like that. Furnaces work, water works. We have to fix some things in the bathroom, but I mean, there's water over there. It's minor repairs. The only thing we're not sure of is the AC unit, so we'll have someone come over and take a look at it and see what it would cost to get that going. We don't know, we're not at the stage, they probably want to do this within the next couple of months, but we're not at the stage of like cost and things like that. I just want to make sure that everyone here is okay with starting to rent it. They're willing to also put in elbow grease, come over and paint, clean up floors, whatever, to make it their office type thing, which also will help us out in the long run. I didn't think it would be a problem, but
I'm assuming they're talking about the upstairs.
no, the downstairs. Yeah.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, no, and they're ecstatic about it. It'll be Lori that would be in there. So
That's good.
they'll make it work. And their big thing is
Nurses make it happen, Captain.
the impact is more in this area than it is Baltimore. You know, try to get back into the area as this progresses. They're a little bit closer to the project area type thing. Not that Baltimore's that far, but their office is kind of also tucked away, kind of in an alley. You don't even know it's there. So they've had people like can't find it because it has a street address, but you actually have to go around the building and know it's some random back door back there to get into it. And this will actually put them on Main Street to where it's a lot easier for people to get in and out. So we'll bring that back again, you know, once we get the contract, council will have to approve it before I can sign it, and we'll work out the details. Now, when we look at the building, if it's fully, just say it's ready to go, we've done all the repairs, it's basically $1 a square foot that we can rent it out for. So for 1,200 square feet, which is about half the downstairs, it's $1,200 a month. I kind of threw that out there, just like that's my starting number. I mean, they didn't say, okay, let's, you know, he's like, that doesn't sound bad, you know, we'll talk about it. So that may be close to the price that we might be able to get, I don't know. But we'll work on that if you guys are okay with that to kind of, but again, you know, it's something to get that started, I guess.
Do you know how that project, or how that hearing went, that was at the elementary school?
So I didn't go to it, yeah, so I didn't go to it, I just heard rumors. But from what I heard, I mean, it went as expected. You had the people that are to testify, I shouldn't say talk about, you actually were sworn in there, testified in support of or against, and you had, you know, emotions and things like that. But I mean, overall, I think everyone was happy with it. The only problem that we had from a village perspective is parking, because people were parking everywhere. But again, people were parking in public parking. You know, it's like it wasn't they were pulling in people's yards. They were pulling off the street, which is a public right of way. You're legally allowed to do it, but it does cause chaos, I guess. But you know,
I just wondered, like, school for the project, I assume that's what that was.
well, it's for the siting board. So the siting board has to have so many public hearings, and they'd like to have them in the area that it happens versus in Columbus. That way, people actually come to them. So that was their public hearing. Then they will go back. From my understanding, and don't say, you know, don't quote me on this or say, well, this is what Jason said, so this is what happens. The next step is it goes actually in front of, I'm going to call it the court, whatever they call that next step for that hearing. And then that's kind of where it gets the official thumbs up, thumbs down, and then from there it progresses.
Will they have more hearings?
I don't believe so. I think they had the two
So I
here.
was just gonna suggest, cause what I heard the worst was parents, they probably should have moved it back a half hour. Cause parents were upset about picking up their kids.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, and that's the
So I was
school,
just
yeah.
gonna say, if you were talking to anyone.
Yeah. Well,
They
and,
probably need to next one at least put back in a
Yeah.
half hour, an hour,
Um,
cause that was the big thing I
yeah.
heard.
yeah, no,
Not that I have young kids, but
Yeah,
that was the.
but that's, so the Power Siting Board, from my understanding, Power Siting Board worked with Fairfield Union Local Schools and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but you know, I agree with you, like
Yeah.
there needs to be like a buffer, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
I was-
type thing.
Yeah, I was confused by it because they said people were showing up at 4 o'clock, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, what time does school let out? Because it's like, let's out at like
Yeah.
20 after 3.
But the after-school childcare, they're open until
But how
6
many of
PM.
them, how
Yeah.
many of them, but the meeting started at 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, that's like, we don't have a say in that, yeah.
People show up early.
Yeah.
That's all I was gonna
Yeah.
say, is if Jason was.
Just to
talking
pass along the
somebody,
information,
pass along
yeah.
maybe an hour later, then.
Well, the worst of it is they had something at the school, they had something at the Grange,
Yeah.
and then the church had something going on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like that whole area
Was
was,
packed.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the 2025 contract for the right-of-way. So this is the contract that we passed last year, and we, for the right-of-way administration, to where we pay, I believe it's $5,000 a year, $3,000 a year, and that's our retainer. And then the Ohio Right-of-Way Consulting Group then administers, tracks all the different utility companies come in, make sure they pay us our fees, so when they do tear up our sidewalks and all that, we have money to fix that. So we pay them to collect money on our behalf so we can repair what they mess up when they come through. Any questions? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Michelle, second.
I'll second it.
Second it by Katie. Roll call?
President Dumont,
Yes.
Councilman Mason,
Yes.
Councilman Pangborn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wharton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
All right. Next is for internet service, or email services, I guess is how to say this. So on our computers, for all the village laptops, we use ABC for our security. They use a company called ThreatDown. This is for our annual subscription of total of $967.25. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Michelle?
This is for threat down, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
I have them out of
that's all
order.
right.
Michelle made the motion, seconded by Sarah. Roll call?
President Dumont,
Yes.
Councilman Mason,
Yes.
Councilman Pangborn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wharton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
All right. Next is specific for email. So currently we are on the, we currently use Microsoft Exchange, which is the outgoing platform for Microsoft. We're already starting to see issues with it. For one, my email does not work because of that. Microsoft recently released a update, which is kind of killing Exchange, and that's kind of where I'm at. Impacted Casey on the last update. So we're slowly, our emails are slowly being taken out. So ABC suggests that we go ahead and go to the cloud version, I believe, for this, for Microsoft 365, which is an update from where we're at. Per unit, or per email, it's $312.50 each. $202.50 is the subscription, the $110 each laptop is, each email is for the setup and transfer and all that stuff. We have 9 email addresses in the village that we, I want to say use. That would come to $2,812.50 to upgrade our emails. Looking,
Is that just like a one-time, or is
Um,
that yearly? Or?
well, the 110 would be the one time, but then that 202.50 would be an annual rate each year for each email. So, and Chief Garver's the one that mentioned this, and it's a great idea, like, what emails do we really don't need? Okay, so of the 9, I use mine, Penny and them use theirs, Water and Streets use theirs. We have the poll, which we have for the poll manager, but we really don't use it a lot. So I'm thinking extend that. The chief uses his. Probation, we really don't use that one, that's Bill, but again, we use his Garver one basically for that, so, and talking to the chief, he doesn't mind us using the Garver one for us, because that's usually the people that communicate with him through that. The zoning one, it's nice to have, it doesn't get used a lot, but when it does get used, it's nice, but again, it's also one of those ones like I'm on the fence with. So definitely we get rid of 2. The zoning, I mean, we can get rid of it, and then if we need it, we can bring it back later. Also, if we find out like there's a need, because we can send stuff through, Penny or Sam's email, or even mine. Because even if we go, let's say we go out to the website, we can make it say zoning, but it comes directly to me. But it won't have my email address on there. Like, we can also do stuff like that. But doing that, we can eliminate 3 of our our emails.
But we could set up another one if we decided we.
Yeah, we can do this at any time. This isn't like, this is our only shot at it, but it's like, it's a good chance to look at it, like what, you know, like why spend money if we don't need to? So that would take us down to, 6, emails then.
Did you already delete the generic police one? You could if you wanted.
Yes, we'll delete the generic police one too. That's right, because that was on there, so we'll get rid of police. So that would have been 10, but still we're back down to 6. So that'll bring it down to, shave off about $1,000. So it'd be $1,875. Is everyone okay with that then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to make a motion.
Yes, a motion for that, please.
I'll make a motion.
All right, Michelle,
I'll second it.
seconded by Corey. Roll call?
President Dumo,
Yes.
Councilman Mason,
Yes.
Councilman Pangborn,
Yes.
Councilman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilman Wharton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
All right, we'll get those set up. Couple things that's not on there, but if you guys remember kind of when we talked about finalizing the festival and the money we made, we reserved $30,000 for a mini grant that we're going to use from the festival proceeds. So one of our due outs was to create the application and the process. So the festival committee has done that. I can email this out to everyone, but basically the way we envision this to work is the money we raise in one year will be the grant money for the next year. So we'll like be a year behind. So the $3,000 from 2024 is what we're going to give out in 2025, and we'll give it out the day of the festival. People will apply from March 1st to June 30th of each year. Then from the July 1st to when the festival is, that's the time for the festival to kind of look at it, like who do they want to sponsor or who do they want to fund. They can give all the money to one person or one group, or they can break it out, you know, into different types of grants. It will be reimbursable, meaning that the company or the recipient has to pay it out, and then we reimburse them for their for whatever they were awarded. Then we have rules of like how, you know, like we have 30 days to cut checks. We have whatever, that way everything's clear in there. And I just use the county's guideline for their mini grant processes. But we also have one here, on the application, and we want them to volunteer is what we want in return, or what the money is going to be used for. What's the impact of the village? You know, like if it's going to the food bank, the impact is, you know, it's feeding, you know, the hungry, or families that have, you know, a lack of food in their homes type things. But there's a scoring system on that. So they would fill out the application, they would send everything in. We do ask that there is some type, you know, they put some money forward. You know, like we pay 75% of the project versus 100%. And you get more points based on, you know, what you're going to front on that. Then also you get points for volunteering. The more you volunteer, the more points you get. And then there's 3 sections of it. It's basically, I'm going to call it feelings. But it's, you know, what is the impact, you know, on a rate to 0 to 5, what's the actual impact to the community or the festival? How does it impact growth at the festival or the village, or humanitarian aid? So it kind of hits all those different buckets and allows different people opportunities to get points. That way it's not just based on volunteer hours, or it's not just based on humanitarian aid. You guys would have final approval, but because we want to keep this a secret, you guys would not approve the funding or the recipient until after the announcement. We would have conversations. Festival would meet, have an executive session, approve who they want to pass forward. You guys would be advised who those people are, and then how much, but again, it would not be an official meeting. You can't vote on things in executive session. You guys just authorize us to spend $3,000, which you've already done. So we have our authorization, but when it comes down to make the payment, that's when you guys would actually authorize it. But I want to give you guys first look at it, and this is just me throwing out a weird hypothetical that will never happen. Let's just say the festival committee wanted to fund something with a organization that supported terrorists. And the festival felt very adamant, like that's what we want. You guys would have a chance to say, yeah, we're not being part of that. Like that's where that off-the-wall conversation would come, and that's kind of why we want to have that with you guys. But you guys wouldn't actually approve the individual payment until afterwards. Does that make sense? Like you kind of have some input, but
You would award it before we approve it?
you guys give us the authority to spend the 3,000. You guys already did
Okay,
that.
yes.
We would then choose, but we want to keep it a secret until the day of the festival.
Right,
So then, that's when everything would be officially announced. But before that date, we would have a conversation.
oh, so we would get to say no before you announce it at the
Yes,
festival?
yes. But the official
That's all.
check approval will not come until after that.
That's fine,
Yeah,
that's
I guess, make sure I'm explaining that right.
Yeah,
Because again, we're just trying to keep it secret.
because
and
I'm
the-
like, I can't deny it
Yeah.
if you've already said it.
Yeah, no, exactly. The reason why we want to kind of keep it very top secret is if there's a chance of you and your organization getting money, you're probably going to volunteer more. You're going to show up at the festival and you're going to spend money. And that's kind of what, we're giving you money, but we're also trying to get you to spend some money here with us, so. And that's kind of why. So, but that seems to be the overall process. We will start pushing this out and advertising it if you guys are okay with it.
Yeah.
Festival committee will handle it up until that point, type thing. But if you guys have questions, we can talk about it, because you guys are in charge of the money at the end of the day. We did have our Mayor's Association meeting, and, we had different speakers, but some of the things that was shared with us, I just want to share here at a council meeting because it was very interesting. But Meals on Wheels, that everyone knows about, they're now officially called the Senior Hub of Fairfield County. They changed their name basically because they're more than Meals on Wheels. They provide all kinds of support services to seniors and the aging in Fairfield County. So they rebranded themselves. They did bring some statistics to us. In Pleasantville, they have 68 clients that receive some type of assistance, whether it's through Meals on Wheels, direct delivery home meals, or through, an advocate or a nurse's aide coming in and visiting with someone, a senior citizen or someone that's aging. So I thought that was very interesting. I didn't think we had that many people inside the village, but, we do. But we also have the Commons and the, I call them the senior apartments, but Pleasant View, that have a lot of senior citizens living in it, so that makes sense. One thing that they do want to do, and as a Lions member, we're kind of heading this up, they want to create some hubs within the different villages where seniors can actually go to a certain place and eat. So they started to do it, try to get restaurants involved. They didn't get a lot of support on that because, again, that restaurant has to make a profit off that meal, and there's not a lot of profit to be made on what Meals on Wheels could pay because they have a limited budget of $3 a meal. How can you do that at a restaurant and make money? So what they've decided to do is engage different churches, organizations. So what I've done is I've reached out to the 2 churches in town and one outside of Pleasantville and see if there's an interest for them to use our community center as a hub for senior citizens of not only Pleasantville, but the area to come in. Meals on Wheels will then deliver their meals directly there, and then they would eat socially with other people. And it's not every day, it just, we would choose what days. So the Lions Club is kind of going to handle some of that, working with the churches and to head that up. And then from the county perspective, for the Mayor's Association, I've engaged other Lions Clubs in Fairfield County to look at what they can do in the different villages. So, but those are the things to share from there. We can email this stuff out, but
So what would the churches be doing?
they would actually be the volunteers to be there with the seniors. So
Yeah.
Meals on Wheels, their volunteer would just drop off the meal, but someone has to be there. Again, like the senior may not know the facility, make sure they, know where the restrooms are, clean up, make sure coffee's ready, things like that. There realistically won't be any cost to the village other than electricity. Because if there's a coffee pot that is needed, Meals on Wheels will provide that. But again, we have a lot of the stuff ourselves, so we don't need to borrow or get anything from them. I think we're set up, pretty much right now to do this, other than having, someone to volunteer for it. 211 was there to participate, and they gave us information based on our zip code. So remember, Pleasantville zip code is more than just Pleasantville. It reaches out to Perry County, up towards New Salem, down towards Lancaster, down to Beatty Road. But they had a 73% increase in 2023 with a total of 1,664 calls. So obviously the need is going up. They referred of those 1,400 of those calls the highest one was for food. 835 people were needing assistance with food. 580 of them just needed information for other services available. 95 needed personal clothing, household needs. 69 people needed utility assistance. And 66 people needed community support of some sort, like transportation to and from a job. And then 52 needed mental health or substance abuse help. So 211 is, I'm not sure if everyone's aware of it, but it works kind of like 911. If you have a problem at your house, like not being able to afford groceries, your utility bill, you don't have to worry about calling every organization in Fairfield County. You call 211, they know who to put you in contact with. They will get some general information, put you in the system, and then they push you right to where you need to go, if assistance is available to you. So anytime that someone asks about needing help with food or whatever, just remember 211. And it's local. They actually answer it 24/7 in Lancaster. They're also the suicide prevention number. So if you ever call or have a need or know someone that's called the suicide prevention number, it's the exact same call center, but it's a different number. But again, they can call 211 and still get the same help. So it's just a good way to remember numbers to get people's help, to get people help to people. And then lastly, Adam H. Presented, I shouldn't say lastly, but Community Action she was there. I do want to, because I picked on her while she was there too. And she gave it back just as much as I gave it to her, I love that. But Adam H. was there. I'm not sure if you guys know, but they started building Starlight House in there, which they've been very proud of. Their next project is Venture Place. So if you guys are familiar with where Lowe's is, this is going to go by the Fifth Third Bank there at Lowe's. You'll start seeing dirt being moved right now. But it's basically another facility with beds to help with homelessness and drug addiction and stuff like that. But even with these two facilities, there's still not enough beds for all that. So
Like there was where Golden Corral was.
it's over like where Fifth Third Social Security Administration is.
Okay.
It's right there. It's Venture Place is the road it's on.
Okay.
And if you pull out of Bob Evans, look straight back,
Uh-huh.
you'll see the dirt movers there right now.
Okay.
So they're starting work on that. So a lot of counties don't have these type of items, so it's something to brag about, I guess. Not brag that we have a need for it, but that there's, resources for it.
Where's the other one? I haven't heard.
The Starlight Center is over on, I know where it's at, I can't think of the name of the road, over by Bays,
Oh,
where the old garden feed mill used to be. It's right back there.
back there.
Yep. St.
Are they
Vincent de
like
Paul.
the ones that sort of look like a brand new housing, brand new apartment buildings sort of plunked down in the center?
Yeah, yeah, that's what it looks like. All right, I think that's all I have. So anyone else have any new business? If not, we'll go around the tables. Katie?
Nope.
Sarah?
No?
Corey?
I'm good.
Michelle? Bill? Bob?
You have anything?
No?
I'm actually good. I'm not sick.
Okay. You just want to go home. Sam?
Bob's super happy because he's standing so close to you.
All right. So if there's nothing else, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Bill made the motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Katie. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned at 8:05. That was a lot quicker than what I thought. Yeah.
Katie's getting bold,
Yeah.
seconding through things.
So,
She said I wanna go home.
Atkins,
Okay.
Hill Road, Contract, Airy, Sabine.
No.
Oh, that's Air City. So that is what we just talked about? Yes.
it's been a long,
It's a higher right of way. Air City.
And these are
Next time you talk to, I'm gonna call it Meals on Wheels, even though it's called something else, because I won't be able to remember that. But we should have them ask if they want a booth at the festival.
They will. We've talked about all the different festivals. I'm actually going to get all of them listed.
And they're actually
They will
resigning
probably be
and
there
your
too.
adult day services is only moving.
211 will probably be there.
I
Adam
don't
H
know
will
the
probably be there.
timeline
Like
on
they're
that,
trying
but
to
as of but
find different
right now
avenues
it's
to
in
engage the
process
public.
of being rehabbed.
And,
So today at work, we had an anthem meeting, a
Vehicles
parent meeting, and they were
there,
talking
but I don't
about
really pay
engagement
attention, cause I
in the
couldn't talk
community.
about, and I've been dieting the last 3 weeks, so I haven't been doing the celery to stay away from.
And
They
I'm
may be
trying,
moving right along then.
so this is a
Right,
question
yeah.
you have to
I guess I
answer
have to go to
today.
Nib Nose
But
now. Okay,
So